Hey everybody, I'm Matt Weafer, Executive Chef at the Campbell Club here in downtown Owensboro. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen on Hometown TV. Today we are making a blackened sirloin over a Creole crab sauce with some charred green beans and grilled grits. We're getting a lot of flavor packed into one plate right here. What I have is our sirloin. I cut it into two 4-ounce medallions. This has been sitting out at room temperature for about 30 minutes and I already seasoned it. And what that does is it softens all the fats inside of the steak. The seasoning helps to go ahead and start breaking the steak down a little bit too. It's going to tenderize it. The seasoning is going to absorb into the steak a little bit better. It's going to cook more evenly and be just a little bit more tender and delicate when we actually go to cut into it. What this is here is our house-made blackening. We use some smoked paprika, a bunch of different peppers, garlic and onion powder, some thyme and basil in there as well. Put that on. I'm going to go in a cast iron skillet here. I love cooking in cast iron because it holds heat very well. It's going to give a good even sear on the outside. And I'm going to pop it down into the oven just to finish it too. All right, go ahead and go straight into our pan. Some beautiful sound there, the good sear. That was just canola oil I added to the pan. Use that because of the high smoke point. See, it's already going. I can smell the blackening already, jumping right out of there. Now, I'm going to let that sear for a minute before I flip it and stick it down into the oven. In this next pan here, I'm going to make our Creole crab sauce. It's a pretty traditional Creole cream sauce with garlic, rosemary, shallots. I'm going to start it out kind of like at a low to medium heat. That way the herbs and the garlic will sweeten up nice and evenly without burning. Get the rosemary and the garlic and the shallot, get that all into the pan right off the bat. And that's just unsalted butter. It's going to add nice richness to it. And as it browns, it'll give a good toasted flavor as well. What we're going to add to that is Worcestershire sauce, Tabasco, and a little bit of cream as well. I'm going to let that simmer and reduce, and then we'll finish it with crab meat. I'm going to go ahead and check our steak. That pan was really hot when it went in, so it's not going to need long before the spices will burn on the outside. One nice thing about blackening is that it'll get a good color really fast, but if you let it go too hot, too high, they'll burn and actually turn black. You don't excuse me. You don't necessarily want it to be black, you just want that good dark brown char on it. This is what I want here, golden brown right here. You can see the golden from the butter and the garlic, some Tabasco, and Worcestershire. It's got a lot of flavor. Cream. Those ingredients are going to marry very wonderfully. It's going to be spicy, savory, sweet. It's going to be herbaceous from the rosemary. Some salt there, some black pepper. All right. Let that sit and simmer. The cream will get really thick as it reduces. It'll get sweet. It's going to be a great flavor. Now, our side items. We're doing grilled grits. We make these in-house. These are Weisenberg grits. They're from northern Kentucky. We make them with some white cheddar. They're stone-milled grits, old school whole grits. We cook them nice and slow, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to get them good and tender. With the white cheddar in here, when we cook them on the flat top like this, the cheddar will caramelize and get a fantastic flavor. Got a little bit of onion and garlic and chili flake in there too. Now, our charred green beans. We have green beans, stringless beans from Cecil Farms. They're fresh, super crunchy. What I've got here is another little cast iron skillet, and it's bacon grease. Love cooking with bacon grease not only because it's economical, but it's not, as terribly unhealthy for you as has been made out to be. It does have some good unsaturated fats in there as well, especially when you compare it to Crisco or shortening or something like that. Especially in moderation, it's a great asset in the kitchen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this nice and hot, get it up to where it's almost smoking, throw the green beans in there, and they're going to get a good brown, good char on the outside, hit it with salt and pepper, and just let it simmer for a minute. Don't have to cook them low and slow. They don't have to be mushy, falling apart. I like green beans when they crunch still. You can see they're still nice, fresh, firm green beans. All right. Right in there. Hit it with some salt and pepper. Of course, this is good. Not only a quick way to make green beans fresh, but by using the bacon grease, you infuse the green beans with that smoky bacon pork flavor without that long, slow simmer of actually using bacon. So you'll get going really fast, and it'll pick up some good color, and they caramelize really well too. Like any vegetable, it has sugars in it already. So when you cook it hot in a grease or oil or something like that, those sugars on the outside, they caramelize, and you'll see here in just a second, the beans will pick up a good brown, good tender caramel flavor. Let that go. You can see already picking up some good color right there on that green bean. Now, once it starts to brown, I'll turn the heat down and let it simmer just a little bit. Our sauce over here, you can see by the bubbles, it's of course boiling, but once cream starts to bubble like that, that means it's thickening and the sugars are intensifying and the flavor is developing. If you taste cream by itself, of course it just tastes like milk, plain, sweet, whatever. But when you infuse all these flavors and you reduce it down, that sweetness just intensifies, it turns rich. It's like, I don't know, there's no comparison, but it's just good. A little bit goes a long way too. Let that simmer until I start to see these bubbles forming around the edge, and what that tells me is that enough of the water is cooking out to where it's getting so thick the fats are getting a little bit more concentrated. And once it does that, that means I need to go ahead and add something to it before the sauce will break and it gets a little bit greasy, and we don't want that. This is claw crab meat. It's pasteurized crab meat. It's already cooked. Throw it in there right at the end, and that again is just going to accompany the dish really well. Turn the heat down and just let this simmer nice and slow. Our green beans again, picking up that color, picking up the bacon flavor. Our grits here. Again, nice, good caramelization. That means flavor. It means developed sweetness. It means complexity. That's exactly what you want to see. All right, I'm gonna check our steak. I like steaks about good, medium rare, and we should be there. Pull these guys out and let them rest. Let all the juices settle, simmer down inside. It'll cool down enough to where we can slice it and it won't run all over the plate. It won't dry out after we slice it. It'll just be nice, juicy, and tender. Okay, the green beans are done. Turn those off. The sauce is just about there too. I'm gonna go ahead and slice up some green onions. Throw these right in there into the sauce. It's gonna add a good crunch, add a good green, fresh, flavor to it. We've got a lot of heavy flavors going on, a lot of richness, so a little something like fresh scallion will help kind of contrast that. Okay, onto the plate. Going with our grits. Our green beans. Looks like they've shriveled up and dried up. There's still a lot of moisture in there. They're still very tender, and you're gonna have a little bit of crunch on them too. And they're like green bean potato chips. There's so much flavor in those things. Go down with our sauce and let the sauce just smother the plate. This is going to be the highlight of the dish. I would just eat a bowl of this sauce if I could, but that's probably not a good idea. Now on with our steak. All these juices that ran onto this plate, don't lose that. That's extra flavor, extra moisture. Pour it right on top. There you have it. It's our blackened sirloin over a Creole crab sauce, charred green beans, and grilled grits. I'm Weafer, Executive Chef at the Campbell Club. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen on Hometown TV.